What's going on, buddy? My name is Eason. Welcome back to another video. And today, guys, we're gonna get into consequences of agricultural practices. Everything has a consequence to it, including our different farming practices, and these can be environmental, social, or economic. We're getting into all that stuff in this video for AP Human Geography. So buckle up. Let's get started. Badoosh. So let's get started with our environmental consequences, and we're gonna go in these in kind of an order. So we'll be starting out with pollution in our air and water. This can be caused by biochemicals, animal waste, and growing organic foods. And the map here on the screen shows where pollution in our, I think it's just water actually. So this map shows pollution in water. So the red dictates more pollution, and the dark green, our kind of swamp color, dictates less pollution. And we can see our red here in Mexico, that kind of like Latin America part. We see this in Spain, Turkey, Japan, the Philippines, a little bit of China, United States, South Africa, Eastern Australia, Italy. So yeah, we see a bunch of areas with pollution in our water. And these areas, pollution in water, is going to be by our ocean areas. We can see that with the Caribbean too. Yeah, so these are all by our ocean areas, especially in Europe, that Mediterranean Sea, and all of that fun stuff. So biochemicals, this can cause pollution in our air. Sometimes water, if your practice is like in the water, like rice dominant stuff, wet rice dominant. So stuff that's practiced in the water, with biochemicals that could get into our water. But usually biochemicals get into the air, and these could be, your insecticides, pesticides, and all of that stuff that you use on your plants to keep the bugs away or the fungus away. But these get up to this air and cause atmosphere problems and, just different pollutants that can contribute to climate change and other things. Animal waste, we'll see this primarily in our waters, not really in our air. We don't really have waste that much in our air. We might have methane in our air from other animals. Nothing too crazy, but our waste could get into our water, and that could affect marine life, maybe us, because we drink water, stuff like that. And growing organic foods, we'll see this in our air more. They release a lot more greenhouse gases than our inorganic foods, and that gets into our atmosphere, contributes to global warming, climate change, actually gets rid of some oxygen, and puts other things in the air that are harmful to humans, us, our life. Yeah, so that's an environmental consequence of agriculture. The next one is desertification, which is basically soil turning into kind of like desert sand. It can't be used for growing crops anymore. And this is caused by overgrazing, so having too much animals on an area that eats all the not the soil, but all the plants there. Deforestation, so cutting down all the wildlife there, and then of course removal of the vegetation cover. And this basically means we're getting rid of the fertility and basically just removing all the soil, so it's now kind of just dirt, and we have desert now. It's kind of a simple thing. And this map on the screen shows vulnerability to desertification. Particularly, we see this in our dry lands. And we could see Africa and the Middle East, in Western Asia, and Western America definitely have a huge problem with this as well. We definitely see this also in sub-Saharan Africa as well, but definitely not as much as Northern Africa. We see a lot of course, agricultural practices there, but these are our dryland area. We see crops, not crops, animals over here. We don't see much farming, actually. And remember back to those reasons, we didn't really see much of a farming reason. A lot of these were caused by animals or by humans doing stuff to the land. So agriculture practices of humans, messing around the land, this could lead to desertification in certain areas of the world, particularly our Northern Africa, Middle East, Western America, and Western Asia. There we go. Then the last one that we're going to cover is soil salinization. This is caused by saltwater irrigation and watering crops. So if you're giving your crops too much water, the soil can gain too much salt where it can't be used anymore, or cause plant problems. This can also be caused by using irrigation from salt water, because it's adding more salt to it. Fresh water doesn't really have that much salt in it, so it can't cause salty soil. And as we can see here, this map shows where this is a really big problem. We see this especially in Mexico and Western United States, where it is extremely saline. We can kind of see this in South Africa, India, as well, but nothing as crazy as that southwestern United States and Mexico. Now, environmental issues. There are ways that the world is trying to solve it, and this is through conservation efforts. Now, due to these problems, conservation efforts have grown. These efforts are to conserve the environment and not ruin it more, because that's a perceptual statement, and I don't want to make people mad. And some examples of these is the reforestation in China, conserving the golden lion monkey in Brazil. Though they saw this monkey was, I think it was actually told to be extinct, and then they saw some like, all right, let's not make it actually go extinct. So we're going to let it survive. We're going to protect its environment, and then creating protected environmental areas of over 10% of Earth's land. So conserve the land, conserve the natural life, get us some oxygen. We'll give it carbon dioxide. But yeah, over 10% of Earth's land. We don't want agriculture to ruin what we live on, what gives us our oxygen and stuff like that. So yeah, so from environmental issues, especially from our agricultural practices, we got conservation efforts. Very, very cool. Now let's get into landscape alterations. So the landscape of an area is affected by agricultural practices like terrace farming, which is actually the picture on the side. We see this in Africa, Europe as well. We don't see this as much in the Americas, but we see this in our mountainous, hilly regions. This allows, water runoff. This could cause mudslides if not controlled. But particularly, this is pretty beneficial. It actually reduces soil erosion, gives rainwater a little bit of a runoff, and gives water to the crops and can let crops grow and make farmers money or food to pay their not pay feed their families. Irrigation can cause the landscape in an area to be affected, so it could cause more water in an area, less water in an area as well. Deforestation, the landscape of an area could have less trees in it because of deforestation. Draining wetlands. I put an F there for some reason. No. Yeah, so draining wetlands, no more wetlands, as well. Shifting cultivation, so burning areas, we could see burnt forest, no more forest, that kind of could lead to deforestation as well. And then kind of slashing burn, kind of the same thing as well, affecting those forests, is making areas kind of burnt, smoky, and changing that landscape up a little bit. Also adding maybe more soil fertility, more farming in an area as well. So yeah, pretty cool. Landscape alterations, that's an effect of agriculture practices. And then the last one we're going to is societal effects. So main societal effects of agriculture include diet change. So organic crops being grown, those are pretty much in demand. We see a lot more organic crops being grown more than ever. So yeah, we can see diet change, more people eating organic crops. Maybe people are growing more of a certain food, so more people are eating this food, and this causes issues in health, or more people are just eating this food. That's a diet, I guess. Roles of women in agriculture, especially with that green revolution, it caused more gender inequality in our particularly our LDCs actually, because mechanization and machinery are particularly seen as a men's work stereotypes. I know, right? But yeah, societal effects, roles of women in agriculture change. In our developed countries, of course, we see less gender inequality, so we're gonna see more equality. See more women in agriculture in our developed countries, but in our less developed countries, it's the opposite. And then our last societal effect is going to be economic purpose. Why are they growing these crops? So maybe they're growing crops for money. Maybe they're growing it to pay for something. Maybe they're not growing it for money at all. Maybe they're feeding their family, subsistence farming. Yeah. So societal effects, these are different effects of agriculture. These change over time, and these are the main ones that you need to know for AP Human Geography. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, it helps me out. Subscribe, it's free. You can change your mind if you don't like my content later on. Join my Discord server. It's also free as well. But you can teach people new things or learn something new yourself. I got nothing else for y'all, so adios.